Hello and welcome, dear viewer, to my channel. Today in our video, I will tell you what stories people have sent me in the mail. I want to sponsor my mistress and our child to the US. I am 46 and my wife is 40 years old. We immigrated to the US nearly 20 years ago. But now I'm having trouble taking care of my mistress and the child I have with her. I met my wife when we first moved to the US. We now have 2 children. The oldest is in grade 10 and the youngest in grade 6. Our marriage so far has been generally quite peaceful. I am a worker and get paid pretty well, and my wife owns a busy hair salon. I don't have any bad habits other than being short-tempered. Every time I get angry, I curse and shout at my wife and children. My wife has to interact with many customers, so she is very smart and cheerful. 5 years ago, I went back to Vietnam alone for about a month. In the summer, my wife was extra busy with the hair salon, so she couldn't come back with me. I was drinking with some old friends when I first met my mistress. She is the younger sister of a friend in the group, recently divorced, and has no children. According to her brother, her husband was abusive and constantly gambling, so they got a divorce. She was working as a garment worker and living on her own. I found her very lovely. She was 30 years old but looked as young as 23. She talked so sweetly that I couldn't help staring at her the entire time. My friends kept teasing me that my wife in America was going to be jealous. I hit back at them, saying that my wife is afraid of me, so she wouldn't dare get jealous. During the entire time I was in Vietnam, because I didn't have my wife with me and I wanted to be adventurous, I tried flirting with this woman. Surprisingly, she did not reject my advances, saying she was lonely so she wanted someone to confide in. We were together for the remaining weeks. When I was with her, I felt 20 years younger, and my life felt like heaven. After I returned to America, I couldn't stop thinking about her. That was when I realized I had developed feelings for her. Although she didn't demand anything from me, I sent her money each month. The next year, I returned to Vietnam alone and stayed with her. Unfortunately, this time she got pregnant. I was confused and had no idea what to do. I just encouraged her to eat well and stay healthy. I still sent her money regularly and promised to find a way to sponsor her to the US. However, to sponsor her, I would have to divorce my wife. Then COVID hit, so I asked her to wait for me. Last year, she lost patience, saying she would stop waiting for me and meet someone else. I was afraid of losing her, so I promised I would quickly solve my family matters in the US. I don't want to lose her and my unborn child, but I honestly don't want to lose my family in America either. My wife did nothing wrong. She took good care of the children and her in-laws, and everyone was full of nothing but praise for her. I couldn't eat or sleep for several months. I truly didn't know what to do. I finally confessed everything to my wife. She fainted on the spot. When she woke up, she cried and said some harsh words, and our family life became chaos. I thought things over and finally decided to come up with a proper solution for my wife. My wife and I temporarily divorced. Then I went back to Vietnam to sponsor my mistress and child to America. Later on, my wife and I did not remarry on paper, but I still lived with her and my children like before. I rented a place nearby for my mistress and our child so I could take care of them. My wife disagreed and hired a lawyer to divide our property. I begged my wife to think about our children, but she still refused. She even threatened to sue me for violating the state's marriage laws. I am currently extremely confused. My wife and her lawyer have filed a petition for divorce, citing my affair as the reason. What should I do to appease my wife? Boyfriend sleeps at ex-wife's house for kids' sake. I am 35 years old, divorced for 2 years, with no children of my own. My boyfriend is 37 years old, divorced for a year, and has 2 children with his ex-wife. We met a year after his divorce. The first time I met him, I felt like he was the person I'd been waiting for. We'd both been through failed marriages, and we were both old enough and had had enough experience to feel in tune with each other. We knew each other's situations when we got together and didn't lie about anything. His children live with his ex-wife. They're an 8-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy. My boyfriend visits his children on weekends or when he has free time during the week. He takes them on walks, plays badminton with them, and he teaches them things. My boyfriend has always been honest with me when he visits his children. To me, he is a responsible and loving father. I've never had a problem with him visiting his kids. I've never felt jealous of or interfered with his time with his children. He and his ex-wife don't want their children to feel bad about their parents' divorce, so they still pretend to be a peaceful family. The children don't know that their parents are divorced. My boyfriend has moved out but still comes back from time to visit his children and stay overnight with them. When he leaves to return home, he tells his children that he's going on business trips. What makes me feel sad and heartbroken is that during the Tet holiday this year, my boyfriend plans to take his ex-wife and their children on a vacation for a few days, mainly for the children to have fun in a family atmosphere. He said there would be nothing going on between him and his ex-wife. Hearing all this makes me really sad, but I can't complain, can't get angry, can't be jealous or interfere. My boyfriend said he wants to create a happy family atmosphere for his children, who are the innocent victims of their parents' divorce. How can I say anything to that? When I accept a man who is divorced and has his own children, I know I have to accept the fact that he has to go back and forth to his ex-wife's house to visit his children and share his duties as a parent, such as picking the kids up from school, teaching them, and taking care of them until they grow up. I can be okay with those things, but I don't think I'm ready to accept that he has to stay at his ex-wife's house and go out with her and the children. Surely in the future there will be many more trips like this, because he wants to wait for his children to grow up before giving them the chance to understand their parents' divorce. He and his ex-wife will act as a peaceful family until then. I told him I feel sad and distressed when he and his ex-wife and children go out together. He said he would try to end this phase of their relationship as soon as next year, but he also said he was uncertain he'd be able to do so. I'm struggling mentally. I really don't know what to do. If I continue a relationship with this man, it means I have to accept that he sometimes has to go to his ex-wife's house to sleep and go out with her and the children. And I don't want to end this relationship because I truly love him. He is also struggling mentally. If we continue, it will only make me miserable because I have to make many sacrifices. If he wants to stop hurting me, he will have to come clean to his children, which will hurt them instead. I feel like I'm the one making decisions in this relationship, because he is probably not ready to tell the children the current state of their parents' relationship. His son is 15 years old, an immature and rebellious age. He is afraid that his son will be psychologically unstable and end up neglecting his studies. That's why he still hesitates to tell his children about their parents' divorce. I don't know what I should do. Any advice is appreciated. Dad wants to kick Mother and me out. My parents have been married for 33 years. They were poor when they first got married. So when the marriage certificate got damaged due to poor preservation, my parents did not register it again. They have lived together until now, and the household registration still has both of their names. I have one older sister who is married, and I am single and still living with my parents. We were in a very bad financial situation in 2013, so my mother had to go abroad to work. She regularly sent money to my dad until 2017 so he could build a house. I also contributed financially to the construction. After that, my mother remained abroad, and my father stayed at home to finish building the house. In 2021, my father had an affair. Last October, he unilaterally filed for divorce, refusing to acknowledge my mom as his wife. He wants to take over all of the assets, including the land and the house. My father said that he spent his own money building the house, and that my mother and I did not contribute anything. My father also intends to kick my mother and me out because the house and land are in his name. We are extremely worried. Any help would be very much appreciated. Write in the comments what you think about these stories. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like it. Also put a bell so you don't miss new videos. See you soon.